It is the 7th day of November 2019. Good afternoon and welcome to the program. This is Citizen Briefs, an extended edition because of the ongoing Kibra by-election. My name is Wahiga Mwaura. Welcome to the program once again. And remember, in case you have any feedback about our bulletin this afternoon, 22422 is our SMS line. And you can talk to us as well on social media at Citizen TV Kenya. It's now 10 hours and counting since the Kibra by-election began. And of course, we have our teams on the ground. Wall-to-wall coverage is what you can expect on this broadcast this afternoon. And let's get straight into it. And 3 people have been arrested over that alleged voter bribery as Kibra residents cast their votes to elect a member of parliament in a hotly contested by-election. And at this time, I want to take you straight there and bring in our reporter Stephen Leto, who is following the developments there. And he now joins us with the latest on the contest that's been touted as a test ahead of the 2022 general election. Let's bring in Stephen Leto, who's at the DC grounds. Leto, good afternoon. I can imagine you have a long night ahead of you, because we know in the next 1 hour or so the voting will end and counting will begin. But what can you tell us for now, especially when we hear of allegations of voter bribery, when we hear about low turnout of numbers as well? Give us the latest on regards or in regards to that.
Well, Wahiga, from your end, it's wall-to-wall, but right inside Kibra, it's word-to-word coverage of the ongoing Kibra by-election. You've just put it right, that not so pleasing turnout of the voters right inside Kibra. But in the next few minutes, that is from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we are anticipating a little bit of surge in terms of polling, because you understand that today was a working day and majority of voters could have opted to go first to work and later come to cast the ballot. But that notwithstanding, it is now counting to less than an hour before all the polling stations close and the counting begin. At 5 o'clock, all the polling stations, 183 polling stations of them, will be closed and the counting will be starting at the polling station. After that, there will be no electronic display or electronic transmission of results from the polling stations, but rather they will be displayed in an Excel sheet right at the main tallying center that has been prepared at the NCC Social Hall along the Ngong Road. But a lot of incidences, of course, reported in the morning right from Sarangombe, Lindi, which has reported as notorious cases that of voter bribery. That has led to several people being arrested, but you've seen the mob early in the morning, how they were treating that particular issue. But the most interesting bit is the massive deployment of the political machinery in terms of members of parliament from other constituencies who have come to literally take hostage the polling stations in terms of guarding their votes, right from the Jubilee side to the members of parliament from the Orange Democratic Movement, ANC party, as well as Ford Kenya party. The battle shaping itself to a 4-horse race, pitting the 4 main political parties, ODM, ANC, Ford Kenya, and the Jubilee Party. We expect that as and when the counting begin, Wahiga, we will be able again now to start relaying results as and when we get the complete or the concluded tally at the polling stations before they are taken to the main tallying center right at the NCC Social Hall along Ngong Road. Wahiga.
We usually witness that when there is a long queue at the time when voting is supposed to end, those who are in charge of the process will say, we can allow all those who are on the queue to vote, which means that while voting may have ended at about 5 p.m., in some places, voting might continue up until 5:36. As you've moved around Kibra, have you seen signs that there might be a delay in the beginning of counting at certain polling centers? Or do you feel that, for most of the polling centers, by 5 o'clock, counting can actually begin?
Well, our spot checked on majority of the polling stations and centers that we've witnessed. For instance, DC grounds, which is one of the largest tallying centers comprising of 12 polling stations, we've seen literally no queues anymore at the moment. That telling you that we are not likely to see an extended voting time. But of course, according to the IEBC rules, is when 5 o'clock hits and you are in the queue, you will be allowed to vote. But if you will not be at the queue at by 5 o'clock, then you will be locked out of the voting exercise. And so we are trying to go and see where more chaos are dropped, that is in the Lindi side, in the side of Lindi and Makina, to see whether the people who had been scared away are now coming back to vote after the situation is calming. But that is subject to our confirmation right at that particular end, because we understand that there are polling stations that had witnessed some little bit of chaos, and so the voters, some of the voters, opted to go back to their houses. But this is the time that they are now coming out, trying to race against time to see whether they can cast the ballot by 5 o'clock. And so that is subject to our confirmation, Wahiga.
Leto, tell us this. What can you tell us about the counting process, the transmission of results? And I'm sure many Kenyans want to know, roughly, when do you think the final results will be in, if you're able to estimate?
Wahiga, number one, there could be a little bit of delay because it is not an electronic transmission of the results. It means results has to be taken physically from the polling center, from the polling station, all the way to the main tallying center for verification of all the forms that the returning officers need to sign, and then that particular result then will be keyed in as a verified and a final results. But if it was the electronic system, it would have been easy, because as and when you conclude tallying at the tallying center, at the polling station, then you relay electronically. But that is not the case, which means from 6 o'clock when the counting will be starting, and even all the way to 7 and 8 p.m. when now results will be starting going to the main tallying center, we are going to witness long queues at the main tallying center because of the clearance and the verification of one by one polling station that will be done at the main tallying center. And so it's going to be a long night. It also depends on how quick the exercise will be taking place, and how the political parties will be cooperating, and how the IEBC as well as the security officers will be able to manage supporters of various candidates from disrupting and from really slowing the counting exercise from or at the polling center. And so it's subject to that particular scenario of IEBC as well as the security officers. Wahiga.
Leto, thank you so much for that update. We'll come back to you a bit later on to keep talking.